What ridiculous thing do people brag about for some reason? I've noticed in mom groups the women like to flex by saying how long their baby or kid hasn't been without them. For example, my kid is 7 and I've never spent a night without her. How savage they are, aka how badly they fucked someone over. I had a coworker who thought I was flexing on them by using chopsticks. Being OCD even though they are not obsessive compulsive at all. Like being OCD is some organizational badge of honor. How little time they have. It's annoying how they'd be bewildered about how people would have time to watch films or read books and make comments about how they could never find the time, but then I'd see them on social media for 8+ hours. It always boggles my mind how kids of rich parents flex their money like you didn't do anything. Not taking vacation days. When people try to one-up others' struggles with their own, that is, my life is so much worse. It's sad, really. Why do you need to convince others that you have it harder than them? And they seem to always sound happy discussing it because it makes them feel superior in some way. Maybe that person's issues might not seem big to you, but they're big to that person. Edit. Thank you T for the awards everyone. Edit 2. I've been seeing a lot of responses to my comments saying, I do this. I'm not sure what else to say besides sharing my story that will show that I care. My comment is not about people who share similar experiences per se, more so about people who minimize others' problems and maximize their own. Nonetheless, here's some general advice from a 25-year-old who still doesn't know what she's doing on this planet, but has learned some things. Take it or leave it. Either way, I still love you. There are plenty of ways to respond. Think of why you would present an issue you're having to someone else. Maybe you're seeking advice. Maybe it's just to vent. Maybe it's for support. Sometimes a simple "that really sucks. I'm really sorry you went through that" is all people are looking for. I also don't think that responding with a similar experience is necessarily a bad thing, so long as there is a reason for it. I experienced too, so you're not alone in that. It does suck, or I've experienced too, so I don't know exactly how you're feeling, but I do understand how it feels too. Let me know if you ever need to talk about it, or here's something I learned from it. Maybe it could help you. It's usually clear what someone is looking for when they come to you with a problem, as long as you listen intently. And if you're not sure, it's easy to ask, are you looking to vent or for advice? Hope that helps. Being a responsible parent. Bitch, that's the minimum standard. People who brag about the amount of W they can smoke and or how much they can drink. How many kids they have. When I was a waitress, we had a cook who crowed about how he had 12 kids by multiple women. That's not something to be proud of, my dude. You're a deadbeat dad 12 times over. Here to check if I'm being too annoying about anything. Pre-pandemic, how sick you are yet you still made it into work because you are that much more hardcore than the wimps who stay home for any little sniffle. One time this one guy made it into work an hour after being under anesthesia for a colonoscopy. This same guy also came in with a terrible flu and fever that he would go throw up in the bathroom every hour and refuse to go home. They think they are so awesome, yet all they are doing is screwing over the entire office by getting half the employees sick and the other half left to pick up the slack and work double time. Fuck those type of people. Thank goodness that stuff doesn't fly these days. How they don't read. Professors bragging about how many students fail their class. They use it to terrorize students and wear it as though it's a badge of honor. It's unbelievable how full they are of themselves that not once did they ever pause and ponder if the failing rate was due to their well. Just like that one viral post said, I guess congratulations to you ma'am sir, you suck at your job. Additional, it irks me when some professors think of themselves highly because they have all these degrees and got off from a great university and so on, to the point that they're completely dismissive and unreasonably mean. Like, come on, you aren't even that competent. You cannot teach to save a life, let alone actually educate us, and yet you have the nerve to be totally inconsiderate and boastful. Edit. I've read responses saying that some professors use this as a motivation or encouragement to students. As odd as it may be, it happens. I know I've experienced it too. So I agree with that. Probably don't just write them off immediately. Plus, this exempts professors who teach filter class forgot to clear that part out. In this post I was more of pertaining to professors Janet or non-filtering class who brag about failing rates with the main purpose to demoralize them, those who are just outrighter and do not even care if a student learns a thing or two. But more importantly, I want to add a huge thank you to those professors who continuously strive for the better of students. I know this is a challenging time for you, just as it is for us. We want you to know that we appreciate all your considerations and understanding, your efforts and adjustments. Professors that are super strict yet considerate and highly effective are truly a gem. Edit Part 2. Stop gatekeeping education. There's a difference between being strict to maintain academic excellence and being just an absolute don't be. In a reader comment here saying a lot of students don't belong in college. Who are you to keep them off from receiving higher education? That's just problematic. It just goes to show how much work is left to be done in improving the educational system. High schoolers who try to flex the expensive overpriced clothing that their parents bought for them. People who brag about how little sleep they got. I used to know a guy who would brag about all the girls he slept with behind his girlfriend's back. Congrats on the STDs and complete lack of the concept of commitment, I guess. Deleted. Mine is a bit specific, but women who brag on their BFS husbands for babysitting their own kids. To give them a break. Raise your expectations on what a good father is, ladies. For example, here's one I saw on FB. Wife, I'm so lucky. Name of husband, has agreed to babysit our girls today. Here's a shrewd negotiator though. Here's getting some special attention from me tonight, so I can get some time out of the house. Can't wait. Thanks. Name of husband. I know the husband, he works part-time, and usually when he's not working, he's out with friends, while his wife is home with their 3-yo 2-yo. The bar is set so low for some guys that occasionally watching their own children is cause for celebration reward. When someone brags about liking a group or artist before they were cool, even though they had 200k plus followers. How many bananas they can eat in one sitting. I had a colleague that would always mention how their truck has 4-wheel drive, as if no other car does. Being an I never understood the appeal of being a self-proclaimed A. Mental issues, like I've known people to literally fake mental problems cause they think it's cute or quirky or something. It's not something people should want to have. It ruins your life. PLS stop. I've got to that bother me. The I don't know anything about computers. People, and the I never read. People. I work in it, and I have legitimately had to teach Anna how to use a mouse. A Gorham store manager, who needs to use the computer probably about 65% of his day. Don't brag about never updating your skills to keep up with your industry. He only lasted a month before they fired him for being incompetent. And the I never read people drive me nuts because I read as often as I can. And they often interrupt me while I'm on my break just to brag about how they never read. Shut up and leave me alone. I'm busy. How much they can drink. How good of an athlete they were in high school. Fights they got in when they were younger. Most of them aren't even captivating at all. How they are not into whatever is popular and that somehow makes them better. I was one of those people. I missed out on some fun things that I'm just now getting into. Being tall. Cheating. So many times I've heard classmates from my college talking about making out or having sex with people at a party while being on a relationship. How much they spent on something. How little sleep they got. How many hours they worked. How they don't read. How they put a customer worker in their place. Also just general bragging about how mean they are. The number of penises they have. How drunk high they are, while at the same time bragging how much they can drink smoke. Individually it is already pretty dumb, but in combination it gets really ridiculous. I was that person once, and quite long even after my teens were over. Looking back I ask myself why, and how I kept it up for so long. How many people they have slept with. I never understood why it is a competition. I was a gifted student at one of the 100k plus public schools in the US that all had class full of gifted students. How spicy they like their food. No one cares if you pour hot sauce all over everything you eat. If you like it, fine, but it's certainly not worth flexing about. Even more annoying is when they make fun of people who don't like things super spicy. Quirky, not like the other girls. Never taking a day off sick. It's unlikely that they were never actually sick, just they come in and spread germs. How little they read, or how little they stay in touch with current affairs. What do they have, or what injuries they have. As a woman, I absolutely cannot stand when a woman brags that she is a bad bitch. Mostly because the only women that I've ever heard brag about that are usually super loud, obnoxious, and have really abrasive and unapproachable personalities. I think it can be a wonderful thing to feel like a strong and confident woman, but if you define being strong and confident by being rude and a bully, then you're not a bad bitch, you're a bad person. How much they don't need people. It's desperate. Just be solitary and go. The ones that brag don't seem that happy in themselves with their own company either, so clearly the whole solitude thing isn't working out very much. Those who are content with being on their own don't go on about it constantly. They have nothing to prove. I always internally roll my eyes at anyone that brags about their purse or whatever else that's covered in giant logos. As my grandfather used to say, why would you pay a company to give them free advertising? I have heard people brag about having breakfast at McDonald's before it became popular. I get weirdly proud when someone tells me that they like something I have or am wearing, and I get to tell them that I got it on sale and how much I didn't spend on it. How much they work. Doesn't matter how s of a parent they are, they work all the time. How they don't give a ref work, college, school, even in friendships and relationships. It boggles my mind how many people think it's cool to brag about not giving a fuck about their careers, responsibilities, or even their behavior towards others, and how it affects them. It's almost like they think failing, losing jobs, and causing drama with friends, or being toxic to others is badder. Moms that brag about how they haven't showered or taken care of themselves in days because of the kids. Self-care is important and necessary. I heard this interview or radio personalities one morning, can't remember what exactly it was, and one of them said how they've never gotten in a fist fight before, and the other person stopped them mid-sentence and said, wait, you've never gotten in a fist fight before? Come on, not once. That's crazy. How? And she just kept going on and on about how she's gotten into so many fights and she can't believe the other one hadn't. That's not something to be proud of. Bragging about having beef with a lot of people. This baffles me so much. Some genuinely take pride in having issues after issues with a bunch of different people. It doesn't prove anything except suggest that perhaps you are the problem. How much money they lose, or how much they drink. I don't get who they are trying to impress. Smoking W. How much hot or colder the climate where they live in is. For example, if there's a heat wave going on in Europe, then you can guarantee a bunch of people in TX will go off on how it's so much hotter in TX. Of course they ignore the fact that many countries don't have their infrastructure set up for heat waves, while the people in places like TX move from air-conditioned home to air-conditioned truck to air-conditioned office. One I see people brag on a lot but no one ever mentions: killing plants. Oh, I kill everything I touch. I can never keep a plant alive. All dead. Not my fault, I'm just not a plant person. It's akin to saying I'm not a computer person. Teehee. You can very easily Google the issue. The truth is that you just don't give a s enough to figure it out. You can look up an error message just as well as you can look up cactus turning yellow. You presumably bought the damn plant. Take care of the poor thing. Advertising that you let living things die under your care isn't cute or quirky or interesting. It just makes me sad for those plants. Any type of mental illness or condition. I support mental health awareness and that more people should talk about it. But damn, people should not use their diagnosis or self-diagnosis as some kind of a badge.